Hi, so my name is Becca, and I'm here to talk about what single project or task would you consider your most significant accomplishment in your career to date. So, most of my roles in the past have been lots and lots of little projects and not necessarily one bigger project. Um, and just like churning things out as quickly as possible rather than investing time on one large thing. So it was a little bit of a struggle to choose one thing that stood out as the most important accomplishment. But for the sake of the assignment, I decided to choose one that I thought had a pretty good impact and that I felt really good about. So um, a detailed overview of the accomplishment. I was working at Hotel Tonight as the office manager, recruiter, HR, a little bit of everything. And I was also the event planner there. And we did not only larger events, for example, when we launched our iPad app, I planned a large 100 people party and at one of the cool like event spaces in the city. However, that I wouldn't consider the best accomplishment because it was hard to measure results from that. So something that I want to talk about today is when I planned an internal team event on a very low budget. And that event was a scavenger hunt. I created a photo-based scavenger hunt, and everyone in the team was about 30, no, the team was about 40 people at the time, and there were about 30 people participating in the event this day. And it was a little bit of everybody from every department. And so I'm going to try to incorporate a little bit of sketching into my talk here. So basically, you had engineering, and there were, a couple people in engineering, and then you had marketing, and there were a couple people there. Then you had business development, and there were a lot of people in business development. But as the team grew, it started to get a little more cliquey. So you had certain people forming their own departments or cliques within those. Um, and it was a good work culture as a whole, but it was pretty segregated, not only among these teams, but it started to be even within the teams. It started to get a little bit more cliquey as we grew. There was also, some other people. We had like one recruiter. We had the C-level executives, CEO, COO, and I think even they struggled to fit in with the culture because it was such a young company, and people would go to parties together and stuff. Where of course it doesn't make as much sense for the C-level executives to attend. So I think they were also looking for ways to fit in culturally with everybody. Um, so, so I think these events, these internal events, were really important in bringing all of these pieces together and kind of blurring these lines that separated everybody. Um, so one month I did this photo-based scavenger hunt. We didn't have a large budget that month. There were just other expenses, and so I had to get creative. And basically, it cost nothing to do this. I came up with a bunch of things around the neighborhood that I wanted people to go and find and take photos of, and everybody had a 1 hour hard stop. And if you weren't back in that hour, then you were disqualified. So it was complete as many tasks as you could within that hour. Some of the tasks were form a conga line with some strangers on the street, and you got an extra point for every stranger that was in your conga line. There was to make a drink, be it like play barista at a coffee shop, There was find someone else with a startup T-shirt, which isn't that hard, around the Soma area, and take a photo with them. There was a hidden park around the neighborhood or around the corner of our office that was kind of on top of a building, so I knew it was a cool place that I thought people should know about, but not necessarily something that everybody knew about. So I put a photo of that park in the tear sheet that I made for everybody, and had them find it for extra points. And there were things like, extra points if you are wearing a hat in any photos, or extra points if you are, making a monkey face, or, take a photo of everybody's feet off the ground and jumping midair. So they were things that kind of made everybody just feel really comfortable with each other, just get silly with each other, and forget about different departments and just be people, just be friends with each other, and also engage, challenge people, and to get their adrenaline going, and engage people on the street, and just have fun, and bring that and try to show that we could have fun as a team, that just because you're an engineer and you're interacting with someone in BD, that doesn't mean it has to be work all the time. I think when you have fun outside of work, it influences the quality of the work that you do at work. So that was the goal there. And so everybody came back within the hour. And the next day I made a slideshow with all of the photos, or the best photos. And we all watched the slideshow together over lunch, which was really just fun to watch what other teams were up to. And it was also during the Olympics. It was 2 years ago. So it was during the Summer Olympics. And so I made medals for everybody, gold, silver, and bronze. And everybody left with a medal. And it had the Hotel Tonight logo. I'm going to try to do this backwards because you're seeing things backwards. But this is the Hotel Tonight logo. So I made sure that was engraved on this medal, and put the date on the back of it just as a keepsake. And a lot of people hung it over their monitors as a reminder of how much fun this all was. So on to more questions here. That was a detailed overview. Tell me about the company, your title, your position, your role, and the team involved. So the company was Hotel Tonight. They are an app for same-day, last-minute hotel bookings at a discount. My title there, as I said, was I kind of wore a lot of hats. I was the 28th employee. When I left, I helped launch the London office as well. So in total, between San Francisco and London, there were probably 55 employees. And my position was just a little bit of everything, as I mentioned before. And the team involved was, engineering, marketing, business development. We had a recruiter. We had some customer service reps that worked from home. What else? Business development. We had an in-house accountant and the C-level executives as well. What were the results achieved? So from the scavenger hunt, I definitely did notice people, engineers and salespeople, asking each other out to go to lunch or coffee in the weeks that followed, and that was a new development, and it was really inspiring to see people who are very different from one another really try to reach out and make a connection there with someone that they wouldn't normally ask out for coffee. And the energy in the office was really great. I noticed after every internal event we did, there was definitely a revitalized just sense of enthusiasm for what we were all doing as a team. When did it take place? How long did the project take? I planned this for about a week. The medals I had to plan for about 2 weeks. There was a little bit of design decisions and some back and forth with the medal making company. So that part took about 2 weeks. The actual scavenger hunt I threw together in maybe 2 hours, and the scavenger hunt itself was an hour, and then the slideshow the next day and the medal ceremony was probably another hour. Why were you chosen? Well, it was my role, so that's why I was chosen, because I was the culture creator at the company. So I was happy to do it. What were the 3 biggest challenges you faced? How did you deal with them? So I guess one of the challenges was that there was one guy who had recently broken his leg, and so I was trying to think of events that he could participate in without feeling left out. Prior to that, we had gone to House of Air and gone bowling, and so some of these things require a lot more mobility. And there was some mobility involved, but his team was really awesome, and it was really touching to see that his team, the teams were about 3 or 4 people each, and for the scavenger hunt, and his team decided to stay in the office and complete as many of the tasks as possible within the office. So for something like form a conga line, there were some stuffed animals. We had a mariachi cutout, and so they made a conga line with just silly things around the office. And they made hats out of paper or whatever. They got really creative, so it was kind of fun to see them try to, meet these challenges, but still respect that this guy didn't really have much mobility. So that was really cool of them. Again, another biggest challenge was the lack of budget, so I really had to get creative there and making it as cost effective as possible. Yeah, and then I guess another challenge was I was getting all of these photos in, and I had to quickly try to organize all of them, and which is why we decided to do the photo slideshow the next day, because the day before I realized that I was thinking about the logistics of it, and I was like, yeah, that's going to be kind of crazy to put together within an hour when there's like 10 teams doing 10 tasks each. That's 100 photos I'll have to compile, so I'm glad I thought that out in advance. Where did you go the extra mile? I think making the medals was something that I didn't have to do, but I thought it would serve as a good reminder for people as to what that event represented. And a lot of people kept their medals, as I said, at their desks. So, and I heard some people tell me that it was a good reminder of the lessons learned from that day. Explain your manager's style and whether you liked it. My manager at Hotel Tonight was pretty hands-off. He trusted me to execute, to the best of, or I guess what was best for the team. My role was to think, to be in touch with the team's needs and their wants, and to identify any pain points that they had, and be the person that they could come to if they had any concerns or frustrations. I wasn't a proper HR department, but in a way I did have to, or I was that person that served as HR, and that person that people could come to explain their frustrations or concerns or excitement about the work day, which really helped me feel connected with everybody in the office, even though I wasn't on a team, which I did kind of want to be on a team, but in that way I was part of the whole team. And so my manager style was basically just pretty trusting, pretty I had a lot of autonomy to do whatever I wanted to, given the constraints of, for example, like a budget. Um, yeah. Uh, what aspects of the project did you truly enjoy? Gosh, I loved being able to. Um, I really liked being able to bond people. That was definitely my um, my greatest. What was it? Oh, the part of the project I liked the most is I saw a problem occurring in the office, which was, it was starting to get more and more segregated. We were hiring at one point 5 or 6 people every month, and we were just bursting at the seams. And I just started to see this problem arise, that it was just getting more and more segregated the more and more we grew. And so I just really enjoyed, not only identifying that problem, but coming up with a solution. Um, how did you change and grow as a person? It's just inspiring to have that kind of impact on people, on that many people, and yeah, I always try to do things that make me feel like I'm growing and learning and contributing to the world in a positive way. I feel like a life is not wasted if you're contributing, and you're giving back to people. So, what type of formal recognition did you receive? I mean, a lot of people said thank you. And one other thing that I implemented at Hotel Tonight was the compliment jar. So every weekly team meeting, um, the CEO would stand up. We would have a couple of guest presenters within the team to talk about their accomplishments. And throughout the week, I would encourage people, send out a reminder email, like an hour before the team meeting, and encourage people throughout the week um, to recognize people's contributions and their accomplishments, or just something nice that they did. And it was an anonymous compliment, so we put them in the compliment jar, and then I had the CEO read them out loud at the team meeting. So not only was this person, or were these people getting recognized, but the CEO was recognizing their accomplishment as well, which feels pretty good. And so after I planned that scavenger hunt, I got a couple of compliments in the compliment jar, from people saying, they really enjoyed it, and it revitalized them, and realized that, made them realize that maybe they were thinking a little bit too, um, what's the word? Myopic, and not realizing the importance of the whole team, and they realized, some of them said that they realized that they were, just focused on their team, and not, the company as a whole being a team. And so that made them happy, that they, kind of opened up their eyes like that. So that felt really good, and it was good to get accomplished, or to get recognized, to the whole company, and by a lot of people within the company. So that's it. Thank you.